I didn't discover the HOA had crossed onto my land because someone warned me. I found out because survey pins don't move on their own. That morning started the way most of mine do now. Quiet, predictable, the kind of quiet you only get after you stop needing to prove anything to anyone. I woke before sunrise, poured black coffee into a chipped mug, and stepped onto the porch while the air was still cool enough to feel honest. No traffic, no lawn service trucks, no HOA flyers taped to mailboxes, just wind through trees that had been standing longer than anyone on the board. I have a habit. Every few mornings, I walk part of my boundary line, not out of suspicion, out of respect. My grandfather taught me that land doesn't defend itself. If you don't check it, someone eventually will. Most of the time, the issues are small. A misplaced trail, a fence panel drifting 6 inches too far. Once, a couple parked a camper too close to the creek. Those things end with a conversation and an apology. This didn't. At first, it looked like nothing, just a shape that didn't belong, straight lines cutting through the woods where everything else curved. Clean geometry where there should have been mess. I stopped walking. I looked again. It wasn't a shed, it wasn't temporary. It was a structure. Fresh lumber. New fasteners. Glass windows catching early light. The kind of thing that doesn't happen by accident and doesn't get built overnight without confidence. I didn't rush toward it. I didn't feel angry. I felt alert. Because when someone builds like that on land they don't own, they aren't hoping you won't notice. They're betting you won't act. I pulled out my phone and opened the parcel map. Boundary overlays. Coordinates I'd walked for years. I checked once. Then again. Then I cross-checked against the original recorded survey. There was no ambiguity. The structure sat fully inside my property. Not brushing the edge. Not straddling a line. Inside. That's when I understood this wasn't confusion. It was strategy. People like that don't fear confrontation. They fear records. So I took photos. Wide shots, close details, timestamps, location data baked into every image, no commentary, no emotion, just facts that would still be facts years later. Then I turned around and walked home with my coffee still warm. I didn't call anyone, not yet. Reacting is how you lose control. I wasn't interested in reacting, I wanted to see what they would do next. 2 days later, I placed a single sign, not near the structure. Not dramatic, not aggressive, just one steel post along the access path, facing the subdivision side. Private property. No trespassing, clean. Legal. Impossible to misunderstand. I photographed it, logged it, walked away. If they respected boundaries, that would be the end of it. They didn't. The camera alert came the next morning before sunrise. Headlights stopped near the sign, doors opened, low voices. Someone laughed. A woman stepped into frame, clipboard, neat jacket. The posture of someone used to explaining things, rather than asking permission. She read the sign, tilted her head, and smiled like it was inconvenient rather than binding. She pointed down the path. Later that morning, she introduced herself at my gate. "I'm Melissa Hart," she said, smiling too quickly. "HOA board president." She explained that the structure was a community amenity, that the area had been used informally for years, that my sign was creating unnecessary tension. I let her talk, then I asked one question. When did the board vote on using my land? Her eyes flicked sideways, not toward me, toward the people behind her. "There wasn't a formal vote," she said. "We authorized it internally." "That's not a vote," I said. Her smile thinned. She told me the sign needed to come down. "It stays," I replied. She turned slightly and said, "Handle it." That was the moment the story stopped being civil and started being criminal. That afternoon, the footage showed 2 men cutting the sign wire, bending the post, dragging it into the brush like evidence they didn't want found. Clear faces, clear intent, clear damage. I didn't replace the sign right away. I froze the scene, took photos, logged everything. Then I wrote a letter. Not emotional, not threatening, boring. It stated ownership. It documented the damage. It gave the HOA 30 days to remove anything placed on my land without permission. Certified mail. Email copies. Receipts saved. Melissa responded publicly. Claimed misunderstanding. Claimed safety concerns. Claimed shared access. She didn't deny the damage, so I built a fence, not around the woods, around the access. Proper posts, proper wire, proper signage, filmed end to end. That night, they cut it. That's when I called the county and used the words that matter: criminal trespass and property damage. The deputy didn't argue. He wrote the report. From there, the pattern took over. Emails got cautious, lawyers appeared, deadlines passed, the structure stayed. On day 31, I hired a crew. No speeches, no shouting, just paperwork and machinery. When the HOA president arrived screaming, I handed her the notice and the case number. When she threatened police, I reminded her they already had the footage. By mid-morning, the structure was gone. Clean removal. Sorted materials. Invoice placed neatly on HOA land. The lawsuit came next. Dramatic, loud, public. It didn't survive discovery. Because footage doesn't argue, surveys don't lie, and people under oath eventually meet their own words. The judge didn't raise his voice when he ruled. He didn't need to. Boundaries aren't suggestions, he said. And authority doesn't come from confidence. The HOA president resigned a week later. Now, the land is quiet again. No structures, no assumptions, just trees, wind, and a boundary that answers to no one but the record. And that's the thing people forget. You don't win these fights by being louder. You win them by being precise.